Atlin was just kind of a soul connection. I can't explain with the mountain, the lake. It was just like something really strong. And I just felt home. So I was like, why leaving home? So I've been here now 7 years.
And you like it?
Oh, yes. I'm going to stay here forever. Yeah. Atlin is a paradise on earth, I would say. It's just the most beautiful view to me, and with an incredible community. And it's a small town in northern BC. The only way to get here to Atlin, you need to go through the Yukon. So the next town in BC is like hours away. So we have to do the whole Yukon, the south of it, and then go down to BC. So it makes it a bit tricky. And it's the end of the road. That's what I like about Atlin, is that whoever comes here has a reason, because there's nowhere else you can go after. So like anybody that arrives here, we know that they are meant to be here because there's nowhere else to go after. So I love that. It brings really interesting people. It's very quiet, but yet it's so busy. I barely have time off. Like if I go to the store here, instead of being a 2-minute thing, it can turn into a 1-hour thing, because then I just meet up people on the way there and back. So everybody talks here. We're more like slowed down. In the city, we just see people walking with their phones and stuff. Atlin is so special because it's a lot of human connection and a lot of beauty, nature connection. It's the longest freshwater lakes of BC.
Okay.
Atlin Lake is. It's so long and it's so gorgeous, and it's a glacier water, so it's really cold. And then that island you just see over there is actually the biggest island on freshwater in the world.
In the world?
Yes, that's a good fact.
Wow.
And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of Atlin. So it's a huge island. Yeah, you wouldn't tell because it's a huge mountain. And it's just so gorgeous, but so huge. A lot of trees and even little lakes inside of that. My big plan was to move to New Zealand forever. I came here for a couple of weeks, hang out, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And the people I got to meet back then, it just really made a difference. I never experienced actually connections like this with all sorts of age, and they all had a different story. And a lot of characters are here because we all have a reason why we want to live here. And so it was really cool. And then I was like, I feel home actually. So I decided to stay. I canceled my flight to New Zealand, everything, dropped my job, and I stayed here. It was the best decision ever. My parents were like first generation chocolatier, and I remember as a kid I used to put sticks in the chocolate mold. During COVID, I was bored, so I was like, what should I do? Someone asked me, well, why don't you just make chocolate in Atlin? Like, it would be amazing. It's like the little Switzerland of the North. Like, we need chocolate. I was like, that's a good question. Why do I not do this? With the influence of my parents, I knew like where to order all the chocolate molds, the chocolate boxes, and get the best quality chocolate from France. And so it was just easy, second nature. My business name is called Atlin Chocolate because I wanted my business to reflect Atlin. So I don't think I could move away because I wear the name Atlin Chocolate, and I am so proud of that. And so in my chocolate products you find, I try to reflect what Atlin is. It's a high quality place, authentic, and just amazing. So those chocolates are exactly the same. There was such a huge interest from the locals. Atlin Chocolate is so successful because of their support. So usually I'm just sold out in Atlin, and I make quite a bit, like quite a lot. And people just want to get it, send this to their family away for Christmas. Perfect gifts. Kershaws Cafe is the most recent one. I started it about a month and a half ago. It's brand new, although it's in a really old building. So it was built in 1916 by Mr. James Butterworth Kershaw. And he did this building in tin because there was a major fire that happened in Atlin and most of the town burned down. So after that happened, he was like, I'm going to build a building that's going to be fireproof, that will not burn. So there was actually not a fire and this stayed. So it was a great idea that he did that. And then he turned it into a hardware store. Because the old bar I have, actually it has still the price of the nails because people told me that the round stuff in the bar was actually a nail place you could pick your nails and stuff. So that's all I know. But it must have been beautiful. And then it got closed down and it got bought by someone else, a German lady. She wanted to open a restaurant, coffee shop. So she moved the building on the side. She rebuilt a foundation and then the first floor and then moved this back. Did a commercial like water tank, septic, added the patio, the windows, and she insulated the walls, but she kept the floor and then the tins. It's been sandblasted because I think back then they painted some colors, so she wanted the original color. So it was a bunch of work. And then she opened a restaurant for like a couple years, I think. It was just not her cup of tea, of what I heard.
Wow.
So then she sold it to a very nice couple, actually. They had it for 10 years.
Okay.
And then after that, I bought it. But I have to say that she was my chocolate customer. So one day I bring chocolate to her, and then she's like, well, beautiful chocolate. I say, thank you. I'm looking for a place to do chocolate. Do you know anybody that has like a place for sale or I could rent? And then she said, actually, maybe this place will be for sale soon. So just keep in mind this. I was like, okay. So 1 year later, she sends me an email. She's like, Amelie, would you like to buy the place now? And I'm so, yes, I will. And then I convert this into a chocolate shop in the winter, although I would like to do this year round. And then a coffee shop in the summertime. And that was her idea, to do a coffee shop. And I'm so grateful for that because it's such a good business. Chocolate in winter and coffee summer. I love this.
Oh dear clarity, please come. Show me what has just begun.
The people in this community are incredible. Just in the last week, at least 6 people brought me things for just decorating Kershaws Cafe. Like, and it's antique stuff, right? Because they all know I'm just accepting antiques, so. And they bring me that. It's just amazing. Yes. So it's just like a big family, actually. We are about, I would say, 400 to 500 in the winter time. And then up to probably 1,000 in the summer with all the people that owns the cabin here for the summertime. I would say the biggest challenge for me is the water consumption. So up here, a lot of us are on water tank or something like this, or a septic tank. So we have to be mindful on how much water, how long the shower is. It's different than in the city, you just have how long you want. So that would, I would say. And maybe heating for some people that don't get the electricity or the pellet stove, they'd only have the wood. I'd like it to be a great place for tourists to come during the summertime, because as we don't have the mining now happening, like a lot of mines shut down in the last 3-4 years, like probably 3 or 4, which was major economy in here. I hope that the tourism will help Atlin to sustain. We have 2 groceries, 2 bars, 2 restaurants, 1 art and crafts shop, 2 antique stores, 1 place for music and cinema. We have 3 hotels. And then we do now have a coffee shop and a chocolate shop. I'm so proud of Leandra and Philip. I decided with them to go with a blend, just for here that has a beautiful crema, and that is a little smoky, not too acidic, a little like caramel taste, chocolate to go with the Atlin chocolate tones. And then they're just off-grid outside of Atlin, about 10 minutes from here.
Amelie just reopened Kershaw, so we roast the coffee for her.
So you can take basically 9 kilos at once.
She wanted a coffee that, of a certain kind, and we made a bunch of blends, and she picked some. That blend is only specific to her, to Kershaw. It's only for her, and that's what she wanted. We are coffee roasters, so we roast coffee with a wood fire roaster. We mostly roast organic coffee that comes from different continents, pretty classic, like South America, Central America, Eastern Africa, and Asia. And that's what we do. We started like 13 years ago, and we roast and bag coffee, and we sell that mostly in northern BC and the Yukon Territory, and of course on an online store. Complication, yeah, a little bit for when it comes to control the temperature, so it takes a lot of time, almost a couple of years to masterize how to use a machine, how much firewood to put in the firebox, and to control the air intake and the exhaust to reach exactly the temperature you want. And once you masterize that, I don't even think about it anymore. It's very like fully automatic. I don't think about it. The farmer is very important, of course. Without the farmer, there is no coffee, and they're doing great jobs to grow the coffee, to also dry the coffee and preparing and shipping it, and then they're responsible for a lot of the quality. Us roasters, yeah, of course, it's a keep on going, making a good job, making sure the coffee arrive fresh to the stores, and fresh is quite important, and of course using proper profiles for roasting coffee. And the brewers, it's so important. Just grinding your coffee wrong could be a big mess. It can change the flavor. Yeah, if you are using a fine grind in your machine or in your French press, it's not gonna taste the same at all than using coarse grind. So you have to do a good job at home. You could waste coffee, right? I can waste the coffee doing a poor job roasting. The farmer could waste it all. So we all need to do a good job to make a good coffee. Do it wrong and see the difference. Yeah. Or maybe you like it wrong. Some people like the coffee a certain way. That's how they've been told good coffee was. That's our brain. I get used to that. So they may love their wrong coffee, and you give them a good coffee and might not work for them, right? So as long as you do always the same things the same way, and then you like it, who cares, right?
That's right.
And some people love wrongly ground coffee, super dark roast. That's what you like. I'm fine. Roasting. We decided to go this way just because we live off the grid, and before we had a small propane or coffee roaster. It needs a lot of propane. It's too bad with all the firewood we have around here. It would be so much better, right, to use for the heat, to use wood fire. And we found a company in Italy that actually built coffee roasters that works on firewood. So we went with that. Most people living off the grid have to produce their own electricity if they want electricity. You don't have to. You can have a trapper's cabin with no electricity, but hey, why not? I thought that's what I would do when I first came here, that I would live like trappers in the darkness kind of stuff, with no cash and kind of stuff. But of course it didn't happen. Things got more fancy. And so you have to produce your electricity either solar, generator, or a little bit of both. whatever it is, but then you realize that a lot of the normal life, let's say, of people living on grid, it's not possible. You have to compromise when it comes to fridge or a dryer, a washer. You need to compromise, and you're getting very smart and understanding what electric appliance you can have in your home or not, and where you can compromise. Personally, for me, having running water was the most important thing before I moved out. So I like my shower stuff. So I wanted to have running water and running hot water. For me, it was extremely important. I started with having running water. For running water, you need an electric pump, of course, so it means a little bit of electricity. So if someone is having a shower, it's not a good time to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. But we understand. Oh yeah, he's having a shower. Nobody should draw any water anywhere. We have a fridge that actually are modified. So in the winter, it's taking air from outside with a little thermostat. So it's actually only work in summer on the solar system, and in the winter, it's only a tiny little fan that provides the cool air for the fridge. I call it the eco fridge, but it's something we made ourselves. I think it would be hard for a lot of people to compromise in how much energy you're gonna consume. I love harvesting things, including water. I'm actually enjoying harvesting water at the creek. Either in the winter with the truck or with a Honda pump at the creek, I actually enjoy it. I think, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm not making water, but I'm providing water for our own home, and I'm actually enjoying it, really. So it's a little chore. So every 2 weeks, one of us has to go to the creek, start the pump, or drive the truck to the creek in the winter. Same for firewood, so we only use, for the heat of the house, is 100% through firewood, either for the house, the business, or the shop. That allows you that feeling of providing for yourself, for everything. Honestly, I don't wish anything else for Atlin than staying the way it is. As long as the air stays fresh, the tree stays green, the mountain stays high, and I think it's not bad at all.
Gotta tell you, I've had a ton of fun producing this week's episode. The locals have opened their doors to us here like family. Anything to do with old buildings, living off-grid and off-grid business, I'm there. We found a glorious camp spot right on the side of Atlin Lake, and it's a good thing it has outhouses, because with the amount of coffee we've been gifted this week, the old digestive system is working overtime. But we purchased a specialty bottle of this coffee. This was awesome, getting to go up and see their operation, how they roast this coffee off-grid, and they have this special bottle it gets aged in a whiskey barrel for 3 months, and then roasted and then aged for another 3 months. Pretty neat item. They said the flavor is subtle, but we got to smell a bin of it when we were there, and it smelled quite strong like whiskey. They've assured us there's no alcohol in here, but we're camping here for the night, so it doesn't really matter. And they dip it in wax, which is really cool. Looking forward to trying this thing. I did go on their website and I read about this, and they say that it might be under pressure from the beans degassing. So they say not to put your nose in front of it when you open it. No pressure. Oh wow, smell this. You can really smell the whiskey in there. That smells so good. Amazing. I know. Last night we kind of just sat and looked at this thing. We were debating not even opening it. It's such a neat item. You can buy them in just the bags, but having it in the bottle is really cool. We were stressing about where we were gonna get a coffee grinder, and there was a festival in town last weekend, and they had some of the shops open, and at an antique shop, look at what I found. What a glorious find. It needed an extensive amount of cleaning, but there was actually some 500-year-old beans in here when I got it, and I got to try it out and it ground wonderfully. It's in there. Oh, how much do you think is required for one thing of coffee? Whoa, okay. That's gonna do the trick, hopefully. I have this set to what I think is a medium grind. I've always just purchased pre-ground coffee. Wow, so the coffee that was in here when we bought it from the antique store was certainly much drier because it ground way different than this. Bit of an amateur coffee grinder here. Oh, is that coarse maybe? I think, oh, we need a lot more. What do you think, one sock drawer full? Wow, beautiful looking coffee. And the aroma. Oh yeah, okay. We got one sock drawer full of coarse ground coffee. I believe it's supposed to be a medium grind, but we're pressing it French style. I'm excited for this. We forgot to boil the water. Back in action, got some water. Up until researching how to do this properly, my morning coffee routine was basically 3 scoops of fine ground store-bought coffee, an aggressive plunge with the plunger, and then enjoyed 2 cups of coffee paste. That smells so good. It really smells like whiskey. I guess the correct way is to add a small amount of boiling water, let it adjust so you don't shock the coffee. This being such a coarse grind, I'm assuming the flavor might be a little bit weak, but that's okay. I usually put a little bit of flav in mine, but we're gonna be drinking it black today. Let's let that sit and percolate. Apparently, if you've done it correctly, there should be just a small amount of foam and coffee grinds sitting on top, and the rest should have sunk down to the bottom. We've let this sit for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna give it a really slow press. We were looking online and there's some people that put actually a little paper coffee filter in there. That's supposed to keep all the grounds and sludge out of it. I don't mind if there's a little bit of sludge in it. Okie dokie, ready for our first whirl of the whiskey coffee. I'm not a hard alcohol drinker, but this smells delightful. And it tastes basically just like coffee. Really nice flavor, but they're right, it's so subtle. I don't know if it's a whiskey thing, like a whiskey coffee thing, or if it's the fact that I've this is my first time ever trying to grind my own, or if it's the wood fire roasted, but it tastes like wood a little bit. Like there's tones of wood in there. Let me beer you a cup of coffee. There you have it. Got to learn a little bit about life in Atlin. Got to learn how you can roast coffee on the open fire. And most of all, just got to meet some really nice people. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Destination Adventure, everybody. As always, take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I got a letter this morning, boy. Hey, hey, honey. I got a letter this morning, boy. Hey, hey, honey. I got a letter this morning, gonna see you when the sun goes down. I couldn't read it for crying, boy. Hey, hey, honey. I couldn't read it for crying, boy. Hey, hey, honey. I got a letter this morning, gonna see you when the sun goes down.